is Τζαν Κάρσον. I am a writer based in East Belfast in Northern Ireland, and I am absolutely delighted that my novel The Firestarters has just come out in Greece. It's a real honour to think about people in another country reading a story which is so very much about Northern Ireland and the complex political situation we have here in a completely different setting. And I know it's going to resonate with things that have happened in your country's history and things that are happening now, and I'm very much looking forward to conversations that we'll have and opportunities to learn together. So I hope you're all going to enjoy reading The Firestarters, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about it. So The Firestarters is a magical realist novel. It's set in almost contemporary Belfast, so around the summer of 2014, and it follows a period that we have every year here in Northern Ireland of parades and large bonfires which are built to commemorate a battle that happened in 1690. So it's part of our cultural history, particularly celebrated by the Protestant, the community that would see themselves as British here in Northern Ireland. Over the course of this summer, however, things take a bit of a dramatic turn for the worst, and a lot of fires are being lit across the whole city and a lot of social unrest. The novel follows two different fathers, Sammy, who is an ex-paramilitary who reformed when he became a father himself, and he's kind of horrified to discover that his son Mark is actually very involved in this unrest and violence that's happening. He'd hoped to keep his children out of the conflict. And the other father is a man called Jonathan, who is, we would call them a GP here, but a family doctor, who answers a house call in the middle of the night. And when he gets to the house, he finds it's a siren, a mythical creature who's there, and she seduces him. And we meet Jonathan 9 months later when this woman has left him with a baby, and Jonathan isn't sure whether the baby's going to turn out to be human, which would be okay, or take after her mother and be siren. So whenever she opens her mouth, she has the ability to destroy people. So the novel essentially is about fatherhood or parenthood and the legacy of what we pass down to the next generation, but it's also a book that explores contemporary Northern Ireland and the complex issues which we have here at the minute. I guess I didn't actually start writing till quite late. I was 25 before I put my first words down on paper. I'd always been a big reader and I always wanted to write, but I kind of needed to shock myself into doing that. So I moved to America when I was 25, and that was the impetus that I needed to begin telling stories. My work is very much defined by an emphasis on Northern Irish culture, so I'm about to publish my 8th book in English, and 7 of those would focus on the history, the culture, the politics of the country that I grew up in. Other big issues which come up a lot in my work are the relationships between parents, relationships from one generation to the next, Protestant culture, because I'm from the Protestant community here in the north. And also my work is characterised by a kind of almost irreverent use of magical realism. So the novels and stories would be darkly humorous, and they often have magical or supernatural elements to them. Most of my work is set in the area that I live in, and I get my inspiration from just walking around, looking at people, staring into their houses sometimes, listening to conversations, reading things in the newspaper, and I also talk to lots of people, so I tend to gather up stories that way. For me, the process of writing is a quick write to start with, so a novel would usually take me about 4 months to get the first draft down, and that's very rough. It's just to get the idea of the story and the shape of the characters together. For every book I've ever written, the hard work comes in the edit. So an edit might take me 18 months to 2 years. And I redraft and I redraft and I redraft and I scribble notes, and I have things stuck on the wall of my office, and it's quite a messy process for me, but I think the more books I've written, the more comfortable I've got with that. It's just the process of how I work. It will be kind of quick and intense at the start, and then lots of editorial afterwards.